power!
2019 is almost over, and we're approaching a brand new decade. And while it might seem like Nintendo is ramping down production of Amiibo, with only Richter, Belmont, and Dark Samus confirmed to be coming out in 2020. But 2019 had quite a few amazing Amiibo. Most of them were in the Super Smash Bros. Line, but we did get some other Amiibo besides that too. So today we're taking a look at the top 5 Amiibo of 2019. Now this list is completely my own, and I took a look at a few things. Number 1, I looked at functionality, even though most of the Amiibo on this list are coming from the Super Smash Bros. Line, so the functionality is pretty much the same. But the main thing I'm focusing on here is how these Amiibo look, and that's going to be how well they represent the franchise they came from, and just how great they look sitting on a shelf, because that's what Amiibo are doing for the most part anyway. While I know a lot of people do use these things in game, they really do look good in your collection. So without further ado, let's take a look at the top 5 Amiibo of 2019. Coming in at number 5, we have the Golden Shovel Knight Amiibo. Now this Amiibo was rumored to be coming for some time, and here it is, finally in my collection. Now this came out just earlier this month in December, and it looks absolutely fantastic. If you're a fan of the Shovel Knight series, you're going to recognize this pose immediately. It's the same pose that we saw a few years back, but the golden finish on this thing really makes this bad boy stand out, and it looks absolutely fantastic with the other golden Amiibo in the collection too. That's Golden Mario and Golden Mega Man. Now, on a side note, I think one of the biggest opportunities Nintendo had was introducing the amazing Gold Series Amiibo with Gold Mario, but really never following through with it. I would love to have an army of golden Amiibo on my shelf, but alas, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But thankfully, Golden Shovel Knight is essentially filling that gap for Nintendo. Alright, coming in at number 4 today, we have the Piranha Plant Amiibo. Now this Amiibo was confirmed to be coming last year, but it came out in February of 2019, and let me tell you, this Amiibo looks absolutely fantastic. It's curvy, it's beautiful, and it's everything I wanted in a Piranha Plant Amiibo. It's just really one of these things that you never expected to be coming to Super Smash Bros., but now that it's here, it just fits in so well. Now everything about this Amiibo, from the pot to the leaves to the teeth, are expertly crafted, and it really fits in with the other Amiibo that are in the Smash Bros. Line, but besides that, it looks absolutely fantastic sitting next to the Super Mario Bros. Line as well. And like I said before, this was not an Amiibo I was expecting, so now that I do have this in Amiibo form, I'm impressed that Nintendo really captured so much personality in a plant. It's not something I would expect to have such a wide personality, but this Amiibo really shows what this thing's about. I mean, this Amiibo looks like it's just taunting you, and that's one of the reasons why I love Nintendo so much. They can add such personality to something that really shouldn't have it, and that's why Piranha Plant comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3 today, another Amiibo that came out back in February. It's the big boy, Kincaid Rule. Now, I can't tell you just how excited I was when it was confirmed that Kincaid Rule was finally coming to Super Smash Bros. He was a fan favorite, and knowing that I could get him as an Amiibo just filled my heart with so much joy. And now that I finally have him, he turns out to be one of the coolest Amiibo in the Smash Bros. Line. Number 1, he's absolutely massive. In fact, he could be one of the heaviest Amiibo to be released to date, next to King Dedede and, of course, Bowser. But besides that, the paint finish on this thing, especially the golden stomach, is really, really well done. In fact, it has a nice shine to it, one of these kind of little features I never expected Nintendo to add to it, but I'm very, very happy they did. And on top of that, he's really well crafted. The scales look fantastic, his crown looks great, even the detail on his bulging eye is pretty much perfect. And like I said before, I kind of have a soft spot when it comes to the big boys in the Super Smash Bros. Line, so adding this one to the collection is kind of a no-brainer. Alright, on to the last two, and these two were the hardest for me to decide. Coming in at number 2 happens to be Link from Link's Awakening. Now, The Legend of Zelda is my favorite video game franchise of all time. I mean, I can't stress to you enough how much this game series means to me, and Link's Awakening was my very first handheld game ever. It was just one of these defining moments for my childhood. So getting a re-release on the Nintendo Switch was absolutely amazing. I was so excited, and when Nintendo confirmed an Amiibo was coming out alongside it, my mind was blown. Now, obviously, Link's Awakening is very different than most Zelda games that we've seen, with a style that is best described as kind of toy-like, and this Amiibo is really no exception to that style. It looks like a tin toy, and everything about it is really kind of showing that. He's tiny, he has a super reflective coat of paint, and he's just looking at you with his sword and shield, pretty much saying, you know what, I'm ready to go into battle. And that's what makes this Amiibo so special. I love this thing. It happens to be one of my favorite Amiibo ever, not just of this year. And it also happens to unlock some pretty cool things in Link's Awakening too, including a mode that lets Dark Link chase you around a dungeon, which is more fun than you would expect. But that's why this one's coming in at number 2. In fact, this one almost came in at number 1, but there is one Amiibo that was released in 2019 that, to me, just really redefined what it means to just be a high-quality Amiibo. Let's take a look at number 1, and of course, it is Simon Belmont. Now, Simon Belmont is coming in at number 1 for a few reasons. Now, I do want to point out that when Nintendo first launched Amiibo, they were nowhere near where they were today in terms of quality, especially when it comes to the human characters. Now, when I say human, I don't mean characters like Mario that have giant heads and giant features. I mean humanoid characters like, well, Marth. I think he's the best example. Now, when you take a look at Marth's face in comparison to Simon Belmont's face, you can see just what 5 years of making Amiibo has done to Nintendo. It has really made them fine-tune their craft, and Simon Belmont's features and face are just absolutely perfect in comparison to what we've seen in the past. But it's not just the face. His hair, his headband, his armor, and of course, his chain whip are so well done on this Amiibo that I really want Nintendo to kind of just go back to the drawing board with some of the Amiibo that were released in the first 2 years and make them with this kind of care. There is just something special about a figure this small that has this much detail, and I absolutely love what Nintendo did with this one. So much so that I can't wait for Richter Belmont to come out later next month, because if it's anything like this one, we're in for a huge treat. And finally, one other thing about this Amiibo is it's in the exact same pose that the original Castlevania cover art was back on the NES. Again, these little details are what makes Nintendo absolutely fantastic. This is my favorite Amiibo of 2019. In fact, this is now my favorite Super Smash Bros. Amiibo to date. Hopefully Nintendo keeps pumping these things out, and in the future, I'm hoping with the DLC fighters that are supposedly getting Amiibo as well, even though we haven't seen them yet, which makes me kind of scared, but I'm sure Nintendo won't let us down. I'm hoping we see the same kind of care that Simon Belmont got. But there you go, my top 5 Amiibo of 2019. What do you guys think of this list? Am I wrong? Do you think this list is perfect? Let me know your thoughts and your own top 5 in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, until next time, stay wired in. Bye, guys.